plane crash should be accidental.
Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement if there wasn't foul play? She was unconscious. She didn't choose to get on that plane.
With Diddy behind bars and people looking at Jay-Z and Beyonce differently, we're starting to re-examine history and question what had happened in the past. In this video, we're going to be talking about Aaliyah and the connection between her death, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Diddy. Now, while this could be considered a conspiracy theory, we do have some questionable evidence that I want to present to you guys, especially now that Diddy is behind bars and we hear stories about him taking out his competition like Tupac or B.I.G. It makes you question how many other victims are there that we don't even know about. The theory suggests that Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Diddy were somehow involved in orchestrating Aaliyah's death in 2001, often tying their alleged involvement to a larger pattern of mysterious celebrity deaths, like Michael Jackson or Lisa Left Eye Lopez, who is from TLC. Keep in mind, Aaliyah, Michael Jackson, and Lisa all died on the 25th of a month. Proponents of these theories claim that the music industry harbors an organization like a cult that wields immense power and influence over its members. These allegations are based on perceived patterns, cryptic symbols, and connections between high-profile figures. Now let's get into how Aaliyah was introduced to the music industry, and then we'll talk about her death and how these celebrities may have been involved. Aaliyah's career began at 11 years old when she performed with her aunt Gladys Knight for 5 nights in Las Vegas. By the age of 14 in 1994, she released her album Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, which is a really sick title, but essentially it shot her up to stardom. Aaliyah's second album, 1 in a Million, went double platinum after its release in 1996. Her final album, Aaliyah, dropped in 2001, the same year that she died. 2 months after the debut of her self-titled album, her life was tragically cut short when she died in a plane crash in the Bahamas after filming her music video for Rock the Boat. Now, allegedly, Aaliyah died in this incident while in the Bahamas because a small twin-engine plane crashed. The chartered plane was carrying Aaliyah and 8 others, including the singer's hairdresser, bodyguard, record executive, and the plane's pilot. The plane's wings shattered on impact, and the engine and landing gear were turned off. Aaliyah and 5 other passengers died instantly. 3 others died from their injuries the following day.
The plane, just after taking off for Florida in perfect weather, suddenly plummeted to the ground. Investigators now saying one of the engines apparently failed. Along with 8 passengers, Aaliyah, a young Brooklyn native and a talented singer and actress.
Now, there was an autopsy performed on Aaliyah's body. Her cause of death was due to severe burns and a blow to the head. The pathologist also testified that in the autopsy of the pilot, this guy named Luis, it revealed that he had cocaine in his urine and traces of alcohol in his stomach. The pilot was also not certified to fly this kind of plane and had been hired by the charter company a few days before the crash. It looks like he also has a criminal history with drug addiction, so not the type of guy I'd want flying my little plane. But originally, this wasn't Aaliyah's plan to take this little plane. The singer and the crew planned to return to the US the same day after filming the music video, but the New York Times reported that the charter plane company was changed at the last minute, downsizing the aircraft's weight limit. After investigations into the causes of the crash, officials believed that the small twin-engine plane was 700 pounds overloaded when it took off from the airport. Actually, it looks like the taxi drivers who dropped off Aaliyah to this plane was concerned when they saw how much luggage they had and the plane they were taking. When the plane took off at around 6:45 p.m., an eyewitness saw the plane bank left and fall to the ground at a frightening speed, saying that the crash took less than a minute. So imagine this, you're out grabbing a coffee, maybe running a quick errand, and then out of nowhere, bam, you're in a car accident and now you've got medical bills adding up like a bad to-do list. And no surprise, the insurance company is giving you the runaround. It's like, really, can I catch a break? Sadly, this happens way too often. You've got these firms that promise you the world and leave you buried in paperwork and stuck with those low ball settlements. That's not right, but it doesn't have to be your story. Enter Morgan Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. These guys are like the Avengers of legal help. With over 1,000 attorneys and offices in each state, they've got the muscle to take on big insurance companies and fight for you. And let me tell you, they don't mess around. Just this year, they locked in a $26 million settlement in Philly, 40 times the insurance offer. So clearly Morgan & Morgan is the firm you want fighting for you. Plus, it's super easy, no appointments, no stuffy meetings. You can submit everything they need right on your phone, and it doesn't cost you a dime unless you win. So if you've been injured or you know somebody, don't wait. You can go to forthepeople.com/Sloan, or you can check out my link in the description below. Remember, it's all free unless you win. Morgan & Morgan has your back because they're for the people. Thank you for sponsoring this video and enjoy. So clearly this guy was not permitted to fly this plane. So who is at fault for putting him in charge, and why was he just randomly hired to go and fly this plane for such a celebrity? I mean, I question if he even flew any of the other planes for them prior to this first initial fly. After Aaliyah died, her parents, Dan and Michael, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Instinct Productions, the video production company that created this music video, and decided to switch up the flight. They ended up reaching a settlement, and it looks like the family also settled with Black Hawk, the maker of this plane, and a flight broker, Atlantic Flight Group, for negligence. That brings us to why Aaliyah? Why this circumstance, and why did she and Michael Jackson and Lisa Lopez, like Left Eye, why did they all die on the 25th of a month? Why do they seem somewhat connected in this big Hollywood game? A key element of these theories revolves around Jay-Z and his alleged romantic interest in Aaliyah. According to some claims, Jay-Z was infatuated with Aaliyah, but after being unable to win her over, he conspired with others to eliminate her as a competitor to Beyonce, paving the way for her rise as the queen of pop and R&B, suggesting that her death cleared a path for Beyonce's ascension in the music industry. Damon Dash is someone we've spoken about before. He is a former Rockefeller executive who became involved with Aaliyah. He has shed light on Jay-Z's significant interest in Aaliyah. According to Damon, Jay-Z pursued Aaliyah very hard, making considerable efforts to win her affection. These revelations suggested there was a level of competition between the two men, though Damon claims that he was unaware of Jay-Z's feelings for Aaliyah when he was dating her. Now, Jaguar Wright has been an outspoken figure and within the R&B and rap and pop music field. I don't exactly know how she's connected to all these people, but she knows a lot because she continues to talk about them. And I want to remind you guys of what she has said about Aaliyah.
Sean Carter is responsible for enacting Hype Williams to put Aaliyah on a faulty plane to move her out the way as punishment for rejecting him, and so he could level up Beyonce, who was struggling. Let's just say allegedly that happened.
One thing about Jaguar is that she does not hold back. I feel like she went off the grid for a while, but despite Jay-Z's interest, it appears that Aaliyah never really liked him. Damon described Aaliyah as someone who might give people a chance, but often placed them in the friend zone. This dynamic implies that while there may have been some flirtation, she never took him seriously. Now, a lot of people question Beyonce's power within the music industry. I have to say, I went to her concert. I am a fan of Beyonce. I'm not over here hating. I talk about everyone. People think I hate Ariana Grande. No. Britney Spears, of course not. Beyonce, no. I'm just scared of them a little bit sometimes. Well, I do want to talk about like the thank you Beyonce conspiracy, because I think it does kind of like add up in a way. There is this pathway that Jay-Z paved for her to be this queen that everyone is worshiping. Theories also draw on instances where celebrities publicly praise Beyonce, interpreting these acts as a sign of allegiance. Like, we'll never forget the moment where Kanye completely took Taylor Swift's moment away from her, while some people actually think this was a way for Kanye to protect Taylor in the long run, because he didn't want her to make the mistake of not thanking Beyonce. But at the end of the day, it's just such a weird moment. I'll never get over it.
Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
Especially knowing where all these people are in their lives right now, it's so weird.
My artist of my life is Beyonce, and this album for me, the Lemonade album, was just so monumental. Beyonce, it was so monumental.
Adele was like fighting for her life right there.
In the 5th grade, I skipped school to see you perform. My sister, she got me out of school. It was literature. I'm good. And where you at, Beyonce? My eyes are wet.
Okay. Well, I mean, of course, Liz is going to be a big fan, but
You changed my life.
Thank you to Beyonce.
and of course, we all know about J. Cole's song, She Knows. In this song, he goes on to name drop Aaliyah, also Left Eye, and of course, Michael Jackson, wishing them rest in peace and saying that I'll see you as soon as I die. This song almost seems like a message from J. Cole to the rest of the music industry, saying, everyone knows, and he's kind of picking his side, saying, I will go with the fallen ones, and I will stay here and stay true to myself, while you guys, you can knowingly do what you do, but this evil is not going to become me.
She knows. She knows. Rest in peace to Aaliyah. Rest in peace to Left Eye. Michael Jackson, I see it. Just as soon as I die.
Now, there isn't concrete evidence to show that Aaliyah's death was connected to prominent figures. There have been plenty of questionable stories that have been released since the years coming, and I think that maybe the Diddy trial could even shed some more light. This article reads, Aaliyah took sleeping pills and was carried to the plane before her crash. According to a Bombshell book on her life, Aaliyah did not want to board that flight at any cost. Music journalist Kathy wrote a book titled Baby Girl, better known as Aaliyah. She shares that they took her out of the van and she didn't even know she was getting boarded onto a plane. She went onto this airplane completely asleep. So like she was just like drugged and dragged onto this plane, and she clearly did not want to go onto it.
She was unconscious. She didn't choose to get on that plane.
Now, at the time, there was this 13-year-old boy, Russell, whose family ran the taxi company. He shares that he was in the car when his mom drove Aaliyah and her team to the airport for their flight to Miami. She was eager to get back to the U.S., but Aaliyah was an anxious flyer and allegedly had reservations about boarding the aircraft after learning it was overweight. The pilot had reportedly explained that the aircraft would be too cumbersome with 8 passengers, including Aaliyah's 300-pound bodyguard. Not them trying to shade the bodyguard, but also at the same time, how are all 8 people agreeing to board this little plane knowing that it is overweight?
There are witnesses who signed NDAs. Why would you need to sign a non-disclosure agreement about a plane crash and what happened leading up to? A plane crash should be accidental.
Should be.
Why would any testimony about what happened leading up to it need to be covered under a non-disclosure agreement if there wasn't foul play?
It does make me question every person on that plane and the communications they had prior, because who in their right mind would go and do this? Aaliyah claims that she had a headache. She fell asleep in the cab while her team sorted out the mess. A little while later, it looks like her crew returned and Aaliyah reiterated her concerns. The little boy claims at this point that her team handed her a sleeping pill, causing her to fall into a deep sleep, and they carried her unconsciously into the plane. So whose job was it to make sure she was on this plane? Because she's the celebrity. So I feel like she could say, you know, I'm not going to do this. I will hold off. It's not like she was in the beginning of her career. She had some money. She could figure it out or just take a commercial flight. I mean, shoot, at this point, I'd be like, take my stuff and make sure my stuff gets home safe and I'll see you there. But I feel like she knew more. She knew that there were people after her. Whose job was it? Who was paid that day to make sure that that plane took off? That's my biggest question. But I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think. My email is SloanWellKnown@gmail.com if you have any other video ideas for me, and I'll see you in a new one soon. Bye, guys.